Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Premier Perspective. Today we are here with Nigel and Niko for an Arsenal season preview. After a rough finish last season, to say the least, Arsenal's definitely going to be looking to redeem themselves after a performance from last year that was not to their standard. Up and coming now, they have Ben White from Brighton, a huge 50 million pound transfer coming in from Brighton, looking to secure that center back that's been an issue for Arsenal. With you, Nigel, first, just asking, what do you think Ben White is going to bring to this team?
He's gonna bring a firm body. I think he's gonna be the kind of person that could be there in and out every Sunday without injuries. He seems like a real Iron Man. And the best part about him is he's young, but that could also be a red flag about him at the same time. I mean, bringing in a 23-year-old center back, we've seen a lot of young center backs struggle early on and moving to new clubs, people like John Stones and stuff in the past. But I'm excited to see what he brings. And I think with him coming in for that price, they're giving him the keys to the defense in the midst of a rebuild where a team is getting a lot younger. So I think he's the perfect signing to the new Arsenal that's coming forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we look at Arsenal now, looking more towards the youth movement. Signing Smith Rowe to his new contract, giving him the number 10 shirt. Looking at Saka, who's been great, probably one of the best youngsters in the world right now. So Niko, looking at this team right now, going forward into the season, what do you think they need to improve on from last year in order to, bump up in the standings and not perform like they did last year?
I think the biggest thing is composure, especially when we're building up, because I see what Arteta's trying to do. He's trying to play like Man City, composure, right? Calm it down. But the problem is our center backs, certain players in the midfield lack that composure, right? So if we're going to, keep possession, because that's our game plan. We possess, we break you down, right? Find that last ball through to Aubameyang and, create chances from there. So what we need to really work on is the composure and just staying calm. Because you can tell, like, if it's 0-0 in the 60th minute, we start panicking. We start trying to force things that just aren't there. So if we can keep, players like Ben White, calm, composed players in the midfield, we'll be fine. I think that, we have a lot of promise going forward. We just need to, work on the mental aspect of the game.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that, Nico, and Nigel as well with Ben White. And that's actually Ben White, in my opinion, is like you said, the perfect signing for them. Brighton were actually had the seventh best goal record last season with 46 let up, and they were tied seventh with Villa for goals against. And he's, like you said, a real solid body back there with Gabriel. Hopefully, he won't sustain a lot of injuries. But that leads me to my next question. Nico said they could afford to bring in a third center back, but Nigel, I'll ask you first. Who do you think Arsenal need to bring in addition to what they have already? They've signed Lokonga from Anderlecht, 21-year-old center mid, who can hopefully bring some good positive energy to the team. And they've also signed left back Nuno Tavares from Benfica for about $9 million. So what else do Arsenal need to be fully complete, in your opinion?
So doubling back to what Nico said about just composure, I feel like we need a creative role. We need a creative player, someone that'll really glue everything together and be the composed and free spirit in the midfield to kind of solidify everything coming together. So I've seen in the transfer rumors we're in the market for Asensio, who's going to cost a pretty penny, and a few other players, going back to Odegaard and seeing if he could solidify this part of his career. But I think primarily, aside from a third center back that could solidify the back, we got to be in the market for a creative player in the midfield, someone that could fill that Ozil role. And we have to be in the market for a right back as well if Bellerin can't turn his form around or, decides to leave the club. That's really what I think we need most to
Yeah,
make the step.
I'm with you on that, especially on the right back. We haven't seen enough for Bellerin for him to justify staying and being that number one choice. And then also in the midfield, you have attacking players like Aubameyang, Lacazette, Saka, Smith Rowe. Like these are good players that if gelling together, they're gonna do well. But I still also think that they just need that one more player in the middle to bring that all together. Someone who's going to be able to create an all fronts, because when I think of Smith Rowe or Saka, I think of them up more of the pitch, like when they get the ball towards the final third, that's when they're creating the magic. But you need someone who's going to be a little bit deeper. Like if I'm comparing it to like a City, I'm thinking like a player like a Gundogan, like someone like that who's going to be able to, pivot, turn, getting the ball from the defenders, being able to push it forward. That I think is a puzzle piece that Arsenal is going to need if they need to get to that next level.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what they
and
had
like,
with
oh,
Danny Cab. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say
now you're good.
that's what Arsenal had with Danny Ceballos when he was in the team. He was totally that gel in the midfield who was able to be the city's Gundogan of that for Arsenal,
Mhm.
able to go whatever way at any time and drop back on defense, and also able to create going forward. Um, and he's not an out and out attacking midfield player, but yet he was still able to bring out the best in some of Arsenal's attackers when he was included in that team. So Nigel, what were you going to add about that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say about Denny Ceballos because I really enjoyed watching him play at Arsenal. I thought he was one of the most exciting midfielders to watch in the Prem in a while, and a player like that, um, there are a good amount of them out there, but they need the right team to be in. So if
So
Arsenal could
yeah,
find that,
that's the main
yeah,
point that I see with Arsenal and a player like Ceballos. I thought that he was good, but not good enough. But the reason why he didn't live up to that standard is because of the system that he was in and that the group of players that were around him. Obviously, if you were to stick a player with a similar style, like Ceballos in a team that was more complete, you know, that would be more efficient. But then again, a player at that level, going to a club like Arsenal that's going to step into that role is going to have to make that immediate difference. So obviously, you could say that Ceballos was good, or however you want to describe his performances, but they definitely need someone that's just like a little bit better in terms of gelling that team.
Yeah, but I also think it'll be a hard choice to make that signing, you know what I'm saying? Because of the mixed bag that we have.
Yeah.
Like you look for a person on the younger end of their career to try and
Mhm.
solidify themselves in that role while you're rebuilding with a lot of younger guys, or do you look for an older guy to kind of be the mesh between the young guys and the older guys? It's going to be interesting to see
Yeah, it's
and how to see
definitely
like
difficult.
how the market works, but it's just the timeline of Arsenal is so
Yeah,
confusing
that's what
that
I'm
it's like
saying. Like now,
it's
like
hard to pinpoint who the right guy is.
yeah, you definitely got it on point as you mentioned. With now that Arsenal, they need to look into the market and see what works best for them. Definitely now, like when you look at the market, how some of the prices that these players are going for are insane. So it'll be interesting to see if they're able to pinpoint someone specifically or not.
100%.
Like from what I'm seeing is like we don't know what we want. We don't know if we want to be that, young promising team that's really relying on their youth, or if we want to like compete now. Because if we're going to compete now, it's going to be for Champions League. It's not going to be for a Prem title. It's going to be reaching for that fourth, maybe third spot. That's competing now. But if we trust the youth, right, and let them prosper like Asaka, like a Smith Rowe, then I think that one day we can be a genuinely contending team. But we just need to know what we want. We can't be in this little mishmash of we want to compete, but we also want to trust the youth and trying to make that all work together.
Yeah, and I think that pressure just comes from being a big club. Like we always think about like the Power Five and the Prem and like the big name clubs and things of that sort. Everyone right now is playing Champions League football for the most part, but us. So I think that pressure and that confusion comes from like the pressure of just being Arsenal Football Club in general, while finding that balance because like we haven't performed like a big club in a long time,
Mm-hmm.
but by name and by trade and by merit and with the club's rich history, we are a big club. So I
Yeah,
think it's the board and everyone up top's confusion because they want immediate success, but a rebuild is imminent. And I think they have to realize that, really settle down and sit with that. And once that comes through, I think the young group of players that we have is going to revolutionize the game. It's just a matter of time. But it's the amount of trust they put in that vision and the amount of leeway they'll give the young players to not succeed.
for sure. I think a rebuild is necessary because especially now we're talking so much about transfers. If a player from another league, even a team in the Premier League, nowadays you see everyone wants to play Champions League football. Grealish leaving Aston Villa for City, and one of his main reasons was him saying how he wanted to play for a bigger team, like playing for a team that plays in the Champions League. And Arsenal has to realize that in order to get to that point, yeah, you would want to spend big to get players to be able to do that, but you have to get there first in order for players to want to go there in the first place.
100%.
I think it's also our job as fans to really buy in on what we want because, again, we have those Arsenal fans that they want Champions League football right now. They're
Mhm.
not willing to wait. It's usually the older fans that remember what Arsenal were back in the
Yeah,
early 2000s. They're like, we want
yeah.
Champions League football now. And younger fans were more okay with this rebuild. And I think as a collective group, we all need to decide what we want because, you know, Arsenal is a big they are 100% for their fans, right? You saw with the Super League, they were one of the first to pull out because they saw how outraged the fans were. They are a club for their fans. So we just need to know what we want as a collective group. And we're just one, it's just one big thing. You feel me? Like we just need to know what all of us want. And I think that is a rebuild.
Yeah, I think you both are right in terms of that. And one last question before we conclude. Um, what do you think, if Arsenal does gel well together, what do you think their ceiling is this season?
Nico, you want to go first? Or you want me to hop in first?
I'm gonna look at this like completely like I want to be optimistic, right? But I think the real top for us is top six, and I mean as a sixth place Europa League again. That's what I personally believe because again you have these powers in the Prem. The top four is
Mm-hmm.
basically a lock,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone else is just fighting for that fifth spot.
All right. What about you, Nigel? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm optimistic. I'm a real optimist. I'm open to surprises. I'm not gonna go and make outlandish tweets and say we're
Uh-huh.
gonna win the league like I said last year.
Uh-huh.
But what I will say is I like the young guys in place. I like the direction. As long as the signings that we keep getting close out in the right direction, I think we could sneak into the fourth spot. I really do. I really think a team like Man United or Tottenham can slip up. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a chance to be that Leicester kind of surprise team that just pops in and like really disrupts traffic. But it's all on the composure and the trust that Arteta puts into the young guys.
A
I
hundred
think our
percent.
floor is low, but the ceiling is high.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. We want to do a quick little preview on Arsenal. Once again, we want to say a huge thank you to Nigel and Nico for coming on. We always love having guests. We love having both of you on. Um, a lot of hopefully Arsenal does great this year, so then we can do a lot of Arsenal videos. Have you guys on?
I think that's the first time you've ever said anything like nice about Arsenal.
Anything positive about Arsenal?
Anything
I
positive. Like,
enjoyed,
both of you love
I
this season.
enjoyed that. I
I
enjoyed that.
mean,
That was
hey,
thorough.
at the end of the day, like I'm not gonna pray on Arsenal's downfall. I think they have some pieces. They're gonna be able to do the best that they can, and I think, like you said, I agree with you. Like that ceiling is definitely, I think, Europa League. But even I think they would surprise a lot of people even by getting to that Europa League. So, but yeah, like I said, we want to thank you both of you for coming on, and yeah, thank you to everyone who's watching, who's got this far. Thank you for supporting the channel so far. We're really excited for this new upcoming season. Make sure to check it out. A lot of content coming soon. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Take care.